continuing lesson from Daniel here, from Daniel chapter 2. This is a sort of a part 2 of what we covered last week. Daniel, as we've been studying through this book, has been a servant of God in a difficult situation. His compatriots have been taken away into captivity in a foreign country, and they have been pressed into service as high-level executives in the kingdom, you might say. Their role is to administer over important parts of the state. And in the last chapter, we reviewed how King Nebuchadnezzar, our sort of second main character in this book, has had a dream, and how Daniel and his companions prayed to God for his guidance and protection as Daniel sought to interpret it. Today, we'll be looking at that interpretation. So we saw how Daniel took some time and presented the opportunity, or he'd rather asked for the opportunity to do this interpretation. And Daniel has been given an audience before the king. Starting in verse 26, the king asked Daniel, also called Belteshazzar, "Are you able to tell me what I saw in my dream and interpret it?" Daniel replied, "No wise man, enchanter, magician, or diviner can explain to the king the mystery that he has asked about. But there is a God in heaven who reveals mysteries. He has shown King Nebuchadnezzar what will happen in days to come. Your dream and the visions that pass through your mind as you lay on your bed are these. As you were lying there, O king, your mind turned to things to come, and the revealer of mysteries showed you what is going to happen. As for me, this mystery has been revealed to me, not because I have greater wisdom than any other living men, but so that you, O king, may know the interpretation, and that you may understand what went through your mind. You looked, O king, and before you stood a large statue, an enormous, dazzling statue, awesome in appearance. The head of the statue was made of pure gold, its chest and arms of silver, its belly and thighs of bronze, his legs of iron, its feet partly of iron and partly of baked clay. And while you were watching, a rock was cut out, but not by human hands. It struck the statue on the feet of iron and clay and smashed them. The iron and the clay, the bronze, the silver, and the gold were broken to pieces. At the same time, it became like chaff on a threshing floor in the summer. The wind swept them away without leaving a trace. But the rock that struck the statue became a huge mountain and filled the whole earth. This was the dream, and now we will interpret it to the king. You, O king, are king of kings. The God of heaven has given you dominion and power and might and glory. In your hands he has placed mankind and the beasts of the field and birds of the air. Wherever they live, he has made you ruler over them all. You are the head of gold. After you, another kingdom will rise, inferior to yours. Next, a third kingdom, one of bronze, will rule over the whole earth. And finally, there will be a fourth kingdom, strong as iron, for iron breaks and smashes everything. And as iron breaks things to pieces, so it will crush and break all others. And just as you saw, the feet and toes were partly of baked clay and partly of iron, so this will be a divided kingdom. And yet it will have some of the strength of iron in it, even as you saw iron mixed with clay. And as the toes were partly iron and partly clay, so this kingdom will be partly strong and partly brittle. And just as you saw the iron mixed with the baked clay, so the people will be a mixture and not remain united, any more than the iron mixes with the clay. In the time of those kings, the God of heaven will set up a kingdom that will never be destroyed, nor will be left to another people. It will crush all those kingdoms and bring them to an end, but it itself will endure forever. And this is the meaning of the vision of the rock cut out of the mountain, but not by human hands, a rock that broke the iron, the bronze, the clay, the silver, and the gold to pieces. The great God has shown the king what will take place in the future. The dream is true and the interpretation is trustworthy. The final kingdom, the ultimate and indestructible kingdom that will come and to smash all of the empires that were laid out before Nebuchadnezzar, was God's church. The final kingdom would reign over all peoples, bloodlines, and nations, because its king would be king of all peoples in Jesus. The king could never die, because the king indeed overcame death and will never die again. He was the resurrected King Jesus. The rule can never be overthrown, because its rule is not established by earth or on earth, but rather by heaven and in heaven. The conquering soldiers of that kingdom can never be defeated because their enemies are not human soldiers, but are spiritual enemies who are defeated by the God who defies them. The city can never come under siege because the city is unassailable by spiritual or by physical means. It is the impenetrable city of heaven. And the walls can never be breached because the gates are always open and no enemy can ever approach them. It is the untouchable city of heaven. We are the mountain that moved. God has struck every kingdom and torn down every power. Anyone who has ever been set up by God can also be taken down by him. And there is no political enemy and no physical threat that can ever assail the kingdom of heaven. And that is the lesson of Daniel part 2. Chapter 2, part 2 for us today. We're looking forward from Daniel's perspective to a thing that has already been established for 2,009 years in ours. It was fulfilled fully by Jesus, and now we get to enjoy the benefits of God's reign forever in His church. I hope that we can all count ourselves among the people of God's kingdom. And if you cannot, we'd like to offer this opportunity that you can come forward and join with God's kingdom in baptism as we sing this song.